Yes. We'll start our meeting with the pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call. Robert May is here. Mike Fritz is here. Gregory is here. Alice is here. Derek Rose is here. David Eggert is not here. Steve Wagner's here. Corey is not here. Pam Stevens is here. Amanda is here. The Reverend's here. Warren is here. And I'm sorry I forgot your name already.
Julia Adams.
Julie Adams is here as our solicitor tonight. So is there a motion to approve the Borough Council meeting from May meeting minutes?
So moved.
Second. Motion been moved and seconded to approve the Borough Council May mini meeting minutes. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, motion passes. Approval and payment of bills. Motion to approve consolidated payment of bills as reported as of June 10th. From general fund, there's $92,530.66. Sewer fund, $7,018.03. Liquid fuels, $12,937.33. Is there a motion to approve the consolidated payment of bills as reported?
I'll make the motion, we approve the consolidated bills as reported.
Second.
And as clarification, there was no expenditures from fire tax or the next step. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. Motion, we're looking to file for audit the consolidated treasurer's report. So finances as of May 31st, general fund at $472,002.58. Liquid fuels at $153,820.63. Fire tax fund at $3,923.90. EMS tax fund, $2,494.67. Sewer fund, $265,825.35. Reserve accounts, $207,636.57. For a total fund balance of $1,105,703.07. We are now in the millionaire club.
We're bang.
For a while.
Is there a motion to accept and file for audit the consolidated treasurer's report?
So moved.
Second.
Motion been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, motion passes. Then we're having public comment. We have the Honorable Chief Jordan from Exeter Township Volunteer Fire Department here to address the council.
Yes,
The
sir.
floor is yours.
Thank you. Where would you like me to stand?
Anywhere. I guess the camera's that way for the YouTube channel, so maybe, that way, we have no idea if anybody's even watching. You see the rest of the public's here, so.
No problem. Chris Jordan, Fire Chief, Exeter Township Volunteer Fire Department. I came before Borough Council this evening to put in a request. And it's kind of a partnership request. And what I'm looking for is for St. Lawrence Borough to be our sponsor or grant writing municipality for an LSA grant, which is a local share account grant, which is run through the state of Pennsylvania.
Local or state?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah, and for clarification, there's two different programs. There's a state grant program, and then there's a Category 4 program, which is for the 4 counties, which are Berks, Cumberland, Westmoreland, and York. What we're requesting is that St. Lawrence Borough be the sponsor of a grant application for a new fire apparatus. And we request that the grant application be for the maximum, which is $1 million. The current estimated cost of a replacement apparatus is about $1.3 million as far as a fire engine goes. The application fee for each application is $100. We'd be willing to pay for that if requested. And I guess what I would mention to the council is that basically we would help write the grant. Like, we have the grant pretty much already done. We've done these in the past. We've worked with grant writers. We have the information. Obviously, the council sees fit. They can adjust it or add anything, take anything out. And also, the apparatus that we're looking to replace is a 1997 C-grade rescue truck. I have a copy.
And it's gonna be a new rescue truck then?
Correct.
Yeah.
It would a rescue pumper type.
Pumper, yeah.
Same as what we have now. And again, all we're looking for is that council or the borough would facilitate the grant application. You know, we would work hand in hand with whatever information is needed. And it is a non-matching grant, so there's no matching funds needed for these types of grants.
So is it more than one municipality per grant? Is there like more, so with Exeter also, would you have an application with Exeter Township also?
So Exeter is looking at other applications for their end. We think we're gonna most likely do an application with them for a new building.
Oh, gotcha.
Because, you know, obviously, as most of you probably already know, that's a priority for us. We need something to facilitate the future, and that is priority number one right now, so.
So, are we technically a sponsor and the grant goes to you?
So the grant goes to, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but the grant goes to the municipality and it's used to fund
Okay.
whatever the grant was for.
If I can interject something, the backstory is, Chris and I have had a couple conversations about this, just kind of, what do you think? And he's done his homework because we are not Exeter Township. We are a separate entity, and the fact would this be something that would be allowed to happen?
Right.
That's their wording.
Yeah, we got clarification from
You
the
got
state
clarification on it.
that it is allowed, that.
Because you service us, that, you know, we could be a sponsor.
Right, and that was the first item we talked about, and then of course he went, did all the homework and came back and said, it is allowed under the law. And from my perspective, I think we have a responsibility to the fire service to support them in any way we can. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe Mount Penn just did this for their fire department. I could be wrong on that, might be on a different, I don't
They
know.
got an LLC,
Yeah.
right?
But I believe, did it come through,
It was through the borough.
it was through the borough?
It was something fire related, yes.
Yes,
I remember seeing
and
that.
the fact that there's no matching funds, they're willing to do all the legwork, he's done most of the legwork already. I think it's something that we should really seriously consider doing, because they're looking to turn the corner and get with present day, whether it's updating their fire apparatus, new station, they've got some hills to climb coming up soon, but I think the Borough of St. Lawrence has an opportunity here to really lend a helping hand. We don't know what the dollars will be, we won't know until whenever the awards come out.
Yeah,
I
just-
think there's an opportunity there for us.
What happens if, as we experienced, we didn't get the full amount of the
Right.
grant when we went for it? So you ask for $1 million and you get $675,000.
Yeah, I was just actually gonna explain, so the history of these grants has been, at the last cycle, they awarded, I think, 2 or 3 to two municipalities to support fire agencies that were kind of similar to what we were asking for. They asked for $1 million, they got $500,000. And that's a great question. If we do not get the grant, 2 things. Number one, we have some 2% loan options that we're looking at. We actually got approval at our last meeting to investigate those types of loans. And also, the project would probably have to be delayed a little bit, just so we can help save some more money to pay for that apparatus.
Is there a time frame like applications are due such and such date?
Yes.
They would probably be awarded by a certain date, then the grant is good for a time period? You know, like you have to expect, you know,
Usually within.
a year or
It
something?
depends, if you're building, they're like 3-year.
But,
We did ours and used ours right away.
yeah, but an apparatus takes what, about a year and a half to order one?
I wish.
Twice that.
It takes between 2 and 3 years to
Yeah.
do the whole process. I believe, and so, well, first question, the application period for the category 4 grant is July 1st to September 30th. The application for the state grant is September 1st to November 30th. And that's consistent every year. To answer your second question,
Do you want them to apply for both, for the full $1 million? Or what do you?
You want, yeah, you want $1 million each?
sure.
Well, I mean, application, you want,
The
what?
goal, and listen, it all depends on what the borough has lined up. If you have other priorities that you have lined up as well, you may say, hey, you know what?
We were planning to, were we not working towards,
We were gonna do some equipment in the local Cat 4.
yeah.
Right, so maybe we say, you know, on the Cat 4 grant, you're gonna apply for the equipment, and for the state grant, maybe you apply for the fire apparatus. I don't wanna be,
Yeah, you
I
don't
don't
wanna,
wanna be greedy and say, we wanna
Yeah.
apply for both. There's two opportunities. The state grant is a bigger pool of money. So it has the history of awarding bigger grants. The one thing I will say is that we've developed very good relationships with some of the state representatives.
That's who you need.
And so, you know, Representative Russ Knox come to numerous of our events. She came out to the fire training site the other week, so she's been pretty, supportive of what our initiatives are, so.
so at the end, the borough ends up getting the money, and then we have some sort of agreement, how we hand it over to you guys? That's how it'll work from there, or is that part of the grant? You know, the grant stipulate that, no, or we essentially get the money?
We get the money, we will have to pay the invoice.
Right.
Because we have to send the documentation to the
State.
state. The invoice, the check, et cetera, has to go as part of the reporting for those grants.
So in the real world, if everything went right, you would say, hey, help us out getting 100% of one or the other, and we'll look and see what Derek was gonna give us an update later in the meeting, anyway, what we're looking at for other things. And then, if we're so lucky to get the grant, then it's the next time frame. If it's not enough, you guys will see how other things come in, because you're not really expecting the borough to say, hey, can you guys now,
No.
you know, get the other $500,000. And then at that point, if it all comes to fruition, we're gonna say, okay, now we have to have some sort of agreement that, you know, title will be yours or something, depending on the grant wording and stuff like that, where we then basically say, hey, we applied for the grant, we got this, but now we're titling over you guys.
Yeah,
So like we sort of walk away at the end?
Is that in the actual grant application that it will be turned over to you?
we can put it in there.
I don't know if we have to or not.
Well, yeah.
I don't know if we have to or not.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm making that suggestion, and I don't know.
I had exactly the same question.
Yeah, and if we don't have to tell them, why muddle the water right now?
Typically on the grant applications, it asks for a few things, project description.
Yeah.
Financial need, you know, needs assessment, things like that, on why you would need this. You know, I think we have a pretty good story to tell. To answer your question on the other funding, you know, we have an apparatus replacement plan in place where we work with Exeter Township, where a portion of our budget every year goes towards that apparatus replacement. The problem is the price of a new fire truck is so astronomical now that it takes us many years to accrue enough funding to be able to just purchase those vehicles.
And the intent would be for the 97 that you're gonna replace, that would go off to like eBay or Municipal or something like that, and you get some sort of money back.
Yeah, it would most
Yeah.
likely be sold.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's 2 to 3 years away.
Yeah.
The plan right now would be to sell it. A lot could happen in that time, you know, we
Yeah.
could have another apparatus have a failure, a lot
Who
could
knows,
happen.
right?
So the plan is to sell it, but you just never
Yeah.
know.
Well, you did that recently with the new tower.
Correct.
You did sell off the.
Yeah, the new tower was sold, and that was put towards the, you know, eventual upfitting and purchase price of the current tower, so.
Well, if we don't really have to disclose any of that detail down the end, why do it? You know, we'll just, you know, leave that blank, you know, or not provide anything, because it's not required.
Yeah, full disclosure, I've never filled out one of these applications. I did talk to Muhlenberg Township, who was successful in getting a grant for a fire truck, and I'm friendly with the chief there, and he did assist me in, you know, some
Nuances.
things like that. But as far as the titling goes, I don't know that question, I can find out.
I don't know, I think our intent would be just to hand it over.
I don't know if the borough was the owner.
No, no. So, I'm trying to be realistic here, you know? There's a way you guys can get an apparatus, you know,
I'm
you know.
sorry, wait,
What?
Dave would want it.
Oh, yeah.
He's
I don't know, he might
actually,
shock you, you never know.
I don't know, but I'm just saying,
It wouldn't fit his garage either.
he's not here, so I can't build a new one.
So in the real world, we should absorb the application fee for $100, we're not that cheap. And then we'll, you know, get it, with your stuff, you know, if it needs any type of, finalization, you know, we wanted to make that go back and forth. So that's basically what our resolution's gonna be, you know, and we won't mention anything about Tyler and everything, but it is our intention just to say, it's yours, you know, and then go from there if that's what sort of council thinks like, you know. And that would be our motion.
Yeah, if we can support it.
Yeah,
I totally agree. We
yeah.
should be trying to support with.
There's no downside to us to do this.
Yeah, I don't know if, since it's the extra fire company and we don't really even contract with them, you know, we just appoint them to be our fire.
Well, we fund them.
We fund them.
We'll use the word fund. We fund, we partially fund.
So we gotta make sure that there's
Yeah.
a good, solid connection.
Oh, yeah. And we have years and years to show that, so.
Yeah.
And Derek is so familiar with the applications, he could work directly.
Well, you know, all their,
Not done though.
I feel that.
we usually go with the gambling money, because that way I feel that's like free money. I don't care if gamblers had to spend tax.
Yeah, the cat floor is all the gambling money. Yeah,
So,
you can gamble more.
so is there a motion, pretty much to, that we would become a partner with the, Exeter Township Volunteer Fire Company?
For the state
For the state application, for the full amount, and that they want to supply, and then we would, go back and forth to finalize it for submittal within the period of time it's due, and, we'll let it ride from there. But the intention of council at this point in time is we're doing this with our intent to, if awarded, and it all comes to fruition, we would then hand it to you guys.
Yeah, I
Some
think
sort of
that would
agreement.
be the initial, that would be the plan.
Yeah, but we're not gonna disclose that on the application if it doesn't need to be. Is that okay?
But it sounds like, from what Allison said, we can't just hand them the money.
No,
We have to pay.
we have to pay the truck first, right?
We gotta pay the invoice.
Yeah, yeah.
And that won't
We need
be-
to have the proof of
Right, yeah, who we bought.
now,
Yeah, they've got bought.
now,
In working with the apparatus manufacturers, they don't care where the check comes.
now.
Oh,
But
yeah,
let's
I
put it-
realize that.
Let's put it this way. The LS4 grant we had was reimbursable. So we'd have to have $1 million to cover that check, which we don't really.
We'll get down to the point on that application if we have to cover that or not. We can give them line of credit, the bank. We don't have to have money, it's on a bond or
As he
anything.
said, this is not until September 1st.
Yeah, so we'll find out some little details, but you know, and if there's X amount of dollars, if we would actually have to pay for it first and then wait 6 months to get reimbursed, we'll see
Well,
what it is.
it depends on who you submit it to.
Right.
One took a month and a half and the other took 2 weeks, so, but it's still, you gotta have the money.
And we can just deduct it from what we give them every year, if we, you know, had to.
Yeah, oh yeah, don't they, $1 million every year.
Do they need a down payment and stuff for it to build this for you?
No, because someone else will buy it. If someone goes, you
No,
know,
I'm
this,
just saying that way we can get an invoice sooner and
yeah.
get the money
Do you want,
transferred and not.
do you want to put that in a resolution, Warren, about the title? That way, this council right here now with this grant tied it.
And they're not on the hook for any difference. of
Yeah,
fire
from the
department.
Delta, right, yeah, we're not.
Right, yeah, we would not ask the
No,
borough.
but just to make sure that
Right.
it's in writing.
Yeah.
So moved. Did you get all that, Amanda?
That was a long motion.
There was like 4 items in there.
I'll figure it
You
out.
have to read them back, because I don't remember, I don't scribe.
I'll figure it out. I do have one question,
Yeah,
because I run with Exeter Township Fire Department. Do I need to abstain from this motion?
I think it's always cleaner to abstain. You can just say, hey, I may have an appearance, I always use that term, an appearance of conflict. That way, you're not saying you have conflict, it's just the others may. It's gonna go through anyway.
And you have 4 votes.
So the motion was made by Warren, it was seconded by, Greg. So all those in favor of the motion to, state grant, full amount, we'll look at, finalize back and forth, definitely submitted by the deadline, move forward, they will win everything, and they have to supplement whatever, and at the end, we will pay for it, we have to cover, having the money to pay for it, we'll do that, and then at the end, we hand them,
$1 million.
yeah, it's a line of credit.
Just one more thing, Chris.
Yeah.
I've heard this before. At some point you order the apparatus.
Correct.
Okay. At some point, you've got to put a deposit down on it. No? What locks in the cost? We had this conversation a month or so ago. That they can't, because if you order it today at 1.3, by the time you get there, it could be 1.5.
Listen, we've had situations where, and my deputy chief Eric Lessig is in charge of the apparatus, but
That's who's explaining that.
the way it worked previously is you sign a contract,
Mhm.
but the price is not locked in until I think they start the build process.
Okay.
I think that was what he mentioned to me.
But no
I
money
can verify that
exchanges,
though.
Yeah.
no money exchanges at that point to lock
No,
that
like
price.
on our tower ladder, we didn't put a down payment down or anything.
I must have misunderstood what he said then, because I thought at that point when they started the process of building, there was a requirement there for a down.
We haven't signed a contract for a new apparatus for 5 years now, so I can get clarification though, just in case
It
something's
doesn't.
changed.
It's just knowledge, that's,
Yeah.
again, trying to,
I think they're so lined up with people that wanna purchase it, if you say, you know what, I changed my mind, some next person in line.
right,
They,
Yeah. A call line.
It just
Wait,
pulls up
yeah.
there as a little.
standby list.
Standby, I'll fly standby. Motion been moved and seconded with those clarifications. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? One abstention? So be it.
Just, thank you very much, we appreciate it, and, who should I work with on that? Allison?
Yeah, just go to Allison at some point, and then, and it's gonna swing around a couple places.
We have time, so the
Yeah.
grant doesn't start till September.
And be sure to always put down, I need this back by, so we're on schedule for you guys. That helps.
And just one other note, I've been trying to send our monthly reports, I send them to, Council President May and also Manager Weinbach, so
I
feel free to
forwarded on to
disseminate
the
those if you want.
secretary and she sent them to everybody.
Great,
Yeah.
good. So, we're gonna try to do that on a monthly basis, if you don't get them and you remember, remind me, but we're gonna try to send them out to you.
Appreciate it.
Got a lot on your plate right now.
Thank you, we appreciate
Yep.
it.
Okay.
Go forth, conquer. You don't have to stay, it gets pretty boring after this.
Yeah, that's really important.
All right, well, if anything else comes up, feel free to let us know.
Yeah. Borough engineer, go for it.
Chris?
Yeah.
Thank you.
You bet.
All right, before the meeting, we drove over to 3209 Old Turnpike. That's first on my report. We have a waiver request, with all of the constraints within that grass strip. How tight it is to Old Turnpike. They have to neck down the sidewalk to a 4-foot width instead of a 5-foot. We're all, I talked to Allison, I'm okay with it. I think it is a legitimate waiver for the constraints that are there. So I would support the council supporting that waiver request.
That's
So it's gonna be down here under,
New business.
new business, so we'll wait till we get to new business to vote on. That's fine, yeah, that's fine to explain it, that's fine to explain
I'm
it.
just going by my report.
Yeah, go ahead.
Grant updates, okay, so some grant updates. You have the draft audit in your packets. Any comments? Get back to
Yeah, I was
us.
surprised that you couldn't tell if which units had heating strips by just a serial number or model number.
Again, feed me the question.
You're right, yeah, that's the question. And we can do it through Amanda too.
Yeah.
So, but I like the fact that it gave us dollar amounts and how to switch and equivalent, natural gas equivalent dollars. So it looks like the two newer units may not need to be changed as compared to the other two units. I mentioned before, we probably need to formalize in a council motion that we're gonna go buy at least one unit, so we're on record with UGI that we're legitimate getting the service in. And we could just get that, and we could actually coordinate that when the line comes in, that, then that's the time to change it out.
One of the four.
One of the four, at least authorize one of the four, which would make us bona fide.
Towards the back of your book is all of the quotes, remember how I said
Yeah.
you wanted to.
So we'll figure out again, you think the one unit is a pure heat pump and has no strips in it. So it makes no sense to maybe not change that one right
They
away.
said that in the report that it didn't have these strips.
Right. So, but what I'm suggesting is, we should at least pick one to order, and then that gets us bona fide with UGI, and then go forward from there. But I also like the fact that they said, get rid of the electric water heater, and probably get the savings for that in the first year, in cost. What?
Yeah, I told you.
So, but they recommended downsizing the water, because only hot water uses sinks down here, but these showers, you could put an on-demand heater up there, and I say just forget about it, let's just downsize the water heater. We'll find out how many showers occur in this building a year? 12?
There was the first one that happened in 6 months.
I
Okay.
know that, after conversation, that it's planned to be used by the police, but we're not talking 6 people showing up to shower.
I'm suggesting we downsize that water heater per the report. Don't worry about the heat demand upstairs to the showers until we understand the water ain't going up there. Because if they're taking showers on off hours, who cares?
My question on the hot water heater thing, if we're downsizing the hot water heater, are we downsizing and changing it over to natural gas?
Yes.
I'll say, because I know the turnaround time on natural gas units is much better than electric ones. So you have your rated gallons per hour usage.
So it'll rebound, what you're saying, so you drain that, and it was gonna go down to a smaller size tank. They're basically saying, you're wasting money right now heating X amount of gallons for all this with electric.
What is the current size, you know?
It was 80 or something, 60, it was big,
Big.
it was big.
55?
And they said, bring that down to a 40 or something. I'm sorry, I read it while I was waiting in traffic, so I don't know. I don't remember the numbers, but it makes sense.
I would imagine a 40 for. well,
Everything, that's what I'm saying. We're gonna put the 40 in, then we'll see if there's a complaint on the shower tankers.
I think a 40 on a natural gas unit will be fine, because even
Yeah.
if you drain that out for like 2 showers in a row, like I said, the natural gas will have enough power to keep the water temperature stable versus an electrical.
And what we could do is go back to the CoStar's people to give us a quote for the smaller size heater per the report.
Can we go back to the unit?
Sure, let's go.
To replace, would we choose the unit that directly affects the main part of the building?
Well, like one
For
unit
efficiency?
feeds that conference room, one unit feeds
There's
the
conference room
offices.
in this office, and
Right.
then one's the main office and one's the upstairs.
And we sort of said the upstairs, we don't care about the upstairs because it's not really populated.
Yeah.
And in the winter, the heat rises anyway, so that should probably be our least of concern.
I think by this report, the newest unit in this building is the one that's the main office.
Right. And there were some other things we may want to look at, like they said, there's a spaghetti network of flexible tubing up there. Maybe when we get this done, we can get a better understanding if they think, but all you're really losing is air. It's taking more energy to push air through the flexible tubing. Maybe, maybe that will make a difference. So
So is that flexible tubing corrugated on the inside?
I have no idea.
If it is, that's a valid argument. If it's not, I don't think it's that.
Well, I didn't say we were gonna do it. I just want
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
They're just pointing out
I
everything.
know.
Yeah,
I think it was a great report. That's no stone unturned.
So if council's in agreement, I was looking for a motion that we're going to at least go back to Landis or 2 of our co-stars vendors and authorize them to at least get 1 unit, but our intention is to install that in conjunction when UGI finally shows up.
Which unit are you thinking?
Well, I don't know yet.
I wanna,
I would assume it'd be the one down here,
I wanna-
sort of main offices, right?
Right.
comment on that. Would it behoove
Well,
us,
That's the newest one.
Yeah, so we don't need that, perhaps.
would it behoove us to choose the 2 units that supply the 2 most populated areas?
Well, wait a second, I don't wanna buy 2 yet, because there's some other things I wanna talk about later in the meeting. So
Okay.
all I wanna do is put us on record, we're buying 1, to make us bona fide for UGI.
So we don't know them that way.
Right,
I will say, it seems to be for the most part, all the units are about the same size. So if you're picking a unit, like if you pick any one on this first floor, they're all about the same.
okay. And, go ahead.
What are they?
How hard is it to change out the new unit and move it and put the newest unit to the office?
To the offices,
I'm just.
which is in the
asking.
most used. We'll ask that question, we'll ask that question.
Landis knows that better, but I don't see why you couldn't, because they're all about 5-ton rated.
Right.
units.
And then you get the newest, most efficient for what's going on day in and day out.
And we wanna go ahead and authorize the same vendor to change out the water heater, if
Which
that's
one's,
okay.
which one's the 3-ton?
The upstairs one, I think is the smallest.
Yeah, the second floor.
And I think they sized it because they knew heat would rise.
Okay,
Of course,
so
that's what an engineer would say.
Okay, so we're changing out the water heater to a 40-gallon.
Right, per the spec, per the report spec,
28 gallon, from the 40 to the 28.
yeah.
Oh, it's only 40? We only-
It's a
only
50
40?
now.
Wait, what?
Oh, 50, I'm sorry, 50.
Wait,
Is it
50 to 28?
50 to a what?
28.
Is it 28
Oh,
big
yeah.
enough
Is that gonna be big enough?
There's no hands, it's all washing hands. You're not doing laundry.
Yeah, but they're saying 3 showers, 2 showers, that.
And if the shower guys say we run out of hot water, we can always put the on-demand natural gas up to there.
Does the report call for a 28?
Listen, they should be taking cold showers anyway, but that's fine.
Oh, is that next?
11. I'm seeing it on page 11.
And can I ask like a stupid
Well, we're
question?
seeing
Why are they
it.
starting to shower here now? Because they can?
Yeah, they don't have showers anymore.
Oh, they don't have to shower anywhere else
No.
at their facility?
No.
Well, can we
No.
put quarters like Berks does?
I get the,
No, it was.
we'll talk about this, we'll talk about this when we negotiate a new price with the police commission, all right?
Put a tip jar up
Okay, so
there.
what is it, what do you think?
Sorry, that was my too.
You're right, okay, so we're going from 40 to 28?
No, 50.
50 to 28.
How
Okay,
far
so
away is the
50
showers
to
from-
28.
I would say around.
Straight up.
In there for around.
Yeah.
Around.
We won't know till we won't know, but I think
Sure, that
they should
number's
end their shower
probably-
when the hot water
That
melts.
number's
We'll just
probably
say,
calculated. Because I don't think there's a 28,
First
I think it's 30.
Just say
Whatever.
around, I think that's.
Around, and then we're replacing one unit.
yeah, the intent is to place one unit, we're gonna hang around which one that is.
Okay.
But we wanna coordinate that when UGI brings a line in, if that makes sense. And now we can go back to UGI and say, we're buying a water heater, we're buying a unit, when are you guys coming? All right? Is there such a motion
Leverage.
for that?
So moved.
Motion been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Next item, Pamela.
Knock on the dead.
Any other comments anybody has, just get them over to me.
Sure.
Regarding the more grant, and then that way I can talk to the MEP people. So, or that is the grant. Planning Commission on floodplain. We're reviewing the revised floodplain, and it should be on the agenda for the July meeting, to then, officially start the submission to the state and then future adoption. So, thank you, Planning Commission folks, for going through that painful
The
process.
fellow you had there was very good, very knowledgeable on it.
He's from California.
Yeah.
I don't know if he shared that with you.
Yeah, he did.
And he's a certified floodplain manager.
Yeah, I was very impressed with his knowledge base.
That's
of
why I
floodplain
sent him,
and,
because I was in conflict.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, he could have gone to the other meeting. I'm like, no, you're the expert. You go to this meeting. So good. I'm glad to hear that, because he's just been a wonderful addition to our company.
Good?
All right, so that's Planning Commission floodplain.
There's the multimodal.
The multimodal, well, let's go back up.
Yeah, so,
Where's the waiver on the agenda?
well,
New business.
we asked some more questions from TPD about flashing and stuff like that. It appears anything we do, you have to do the survey to get it flashing, and if the survey says no light, then you're required to take the light out.
Are you just jumping in, are you just jumping in?
That's the old business.
Okay,
You're
sorry.
old business now, yeah.
Okay, so I'm.
Oh, you're talking intermodal grant, sorry. I thought you were talking green light go.
No, so I'm the regular borough engineer. Am I
Done, that seems
done
like,
and
yeah.
then waiting for?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
But if you want to bring up the intermodal grant and that, go ahead.
It's okay.
We're giving you leeway.
It's up to you.
Take a
Yeah, let's go
while.
for it.
The multimodal, is that what we're in?
Yeah, start that with that one first.
Okay. I was thinking, I sent Pamela a bunch of stuff, I don't know if she had a chance to review all of that, for footage, linear footage, the amount of sidewalk.
And this would be the sidewalks and stuff like that.
Yeah, I did find another area that we should probably add in there since it's a zero match grant anyway. Further up St. Lawrence Avenue AutoZone, there's a section of sidewalk that does not exist, that it's now a cow path, that's just dirt. We can add a sidewalk there, and then we've also talked before about adding sidewalk in the AutoZone parking lot to try to keep a buffer to our traffic control box there. So we could add that all together in this grant since it's zero match anyway.
So it's a long prospect, all the way down to the avenue.
Yeah, and then, I mean, the entire objective of this is still complete connectivity of the sidewalk from basically Exeter Township all the way to Mountain End.
Right.
That would grant people to be able to walk along St. Lawrence Avenue that entire way, and then give us that walking process.
That box up there, AutoZone, didn't we talk about putting some sort of a barrier,
We talk about putting ballards in there.
Jersey barrier or
I mean,
something?
you say technically you run amok and everything, you should be changing your signal permit, because you're making changes to that in the right.
But we could change it and protect it more if we get the grant for the traffic signals.
Green light go.
Say, or the sidewalk too.
Right. So,
All right, and are you doing the whole application? I'm just certifying the cost estimate, or what
I'd
are
say
you doing
that's,
with this?
if you could certify the cost estimate stuff, and then we can basically fill in narrative out.
Maps and the letters and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's all SDU
So you wanna get into the traffic signal stuff? Just
If you
while we're,
wanna go to Elm Street,
okay.
I had a conversation with Chris Lincoln,
TPD?
yeah,
Chris Lincoln?
traffic plan design.
Okay.
Essentially, if we go through the process of having the signal study for the removal, we put that in the Green Light Go grant. If that does come back that it's not warranted at that intersection anymore, the state would look to us to get rid of it.
At our cost.
Yeah, at our cost. So if we go through the Green Light Go process with the grant for the study, we find out to get rid of it, that basically kills ever upgrading that intersection.
While it's fresh in my mind, can I throw something in there? I had a conversation with one of our local sergeants, and the only concern that he had is, and I think he might have brought this up last month also, that taking that signal out, if you're going eastbound, once you pass Bingham, it's a straight run. There's nothing to govern traffic in midway between there and Shelburne.
But in the world of PennDOT, you're not allowed to put signals or signage to reduce speeds.
Yeah, that's not.
Well, right, it wasn't put in for
Right.
that purpose. You could
Right.
potentially leave it in for that purpose.
There is another consideration.
That was my big concern, but it wasn't so much eastbound as westbound. Anyone coming past Shelburne is roaring the.
But if we let sleeping signals lie, we just replace the whole thing, because why do we care? It's a full 100% grant, so why even take the chance of saying it needs to be taken out? I just want it fixed.
So,
I will say, I do have an update for you on that I just found out on Wednesday.
Okay.
So Telco did receive the part back, and that's supposed to be installed right now.
Oh, so we're back operating.
We're back in operating
I would
signal.
say The signal is back, it's supposed to be back up in operation this week by the signal permit with the detective.
I'm gonna sit out there for
How
an
much is the
hour.
part?
The estimated cost was somewhere around $2,000 just for that part, just for the single part.
It doesn't make it right.
Doesn't include installation.
Save that old one that they take it.
I think they just rebuild it, they don't, yeah, there's no old one.
What's gonna be that scarce? Why am I gonna let Telco take it? They'll give them Muhlenberg.
They have to
Tell them I want that part.
They have to send it back so that they can
You're
rebuild
right,
it.
yeah, let's keep that.
Keep that part. We want that part rebuilt.
It might be
So
part-
It's like when you send you
itself.
ever nicked up a chrome wheel? You want your same wheels back. You just want them fixed. You want someone else's wheels that they get it. So we want our part back.
you could just say to maintain it or replace it, or whatever, it could be granted. To take it out, we'd have to pay for it.
Right.
So, if the Green Light Go grant, the way it works is we would go into that one of two ways. We're either gonna go into it paying the study, or we're gonna go into it going for an upgrade. You can't go into it paying for the study and also asking for them to pay for the upgrade, because the study has to tell you you can upgrade it or get rid of it. So you're picking one or two.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, there is other consideration.
Or you can put it to blinking.
Let's just upgrade
Let's
it.
not go back.
Let's just go upgrade it.
And I'll say,
At this point.
if you paid the study and they find out it's not warranted, there is an option of basically dismantling the signal and
At
just
our
putting
cost.
At our cost.
putting in
Our
flashing beacons.
Right.
Now, I'm assuming you could go down through a Green Light Go grant the next time around, because it's still technically a signalized intersection, and put in the flashing beacons, but now you're going another.
Wait,
No one knows what to do with beacons.
Let's forget about the beacons. If we go the route of removing that light, we would have to shoulder those costs.
Yes.
We're not getting money for that. We're not
You
getting.
Correct.
hit the poles with the dump truck.
Yeah.
Push it over. Is that
So if council's in agreement, is there a motion that we're gonna go with the Green Light Go, and we're gonna replace everything everywhere? No studies, anything else?
Yes.
Is that a motion?
It's a
Second.
motion. I'll
Motion
second.
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 Motion moved second.
Get
We're
it
gonna-
off the table.
Our grant application is to replace all signals, software, hardware, everywhere, and big ass
Save the parts.
arms up by the dogs.
Save the parts.
Yeah.
There was no, you have to amend there was no motion for.
Oh, wait, amend the agenda, please. Is there a motion to amend the agenda?
I don't need to make that motion, now you guys have to the next council.
Because the green light goes not due yet,
Yeah,
so
till
you
when
don't even have.
November
Okay.
is when it opens.
So we'll replace.
What's
it
the
all
third?
at no cost.
Right, that's what our grant's gonna be. That makes sense to me now.
We can do that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the pre-scoping is.
As long as it's working,
End of
we're good.
November, you
Why
wait
don't
for comments, end of
January.
Let's get it prepared.
Yeah, now we're good.
That's my big push.
But we're obligated now.
You wanna go ahead and amend the agenda, just vote on it now and go for
We gotta
it?
pay for the parking.
Yeah.
You
Is
wanna-
there a motion to amend the agenda so we can, have a motion to direct how we wanna go the green light go?
I don't think you have to do that this council, you can wait till the next.
But I want to just get this over with. I don't wanna talk about it ever again.
To amend the agenda.
Yes.
Okay, motion with the agenda. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, motion passes. Is there a motion to direct our staff and engineer to apply for Green Light Go? Upgrade all signal everywhere,
Yes.
All five.
all 5 intersections. Motion, second. Motion been moved second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes.
Amanda, I hope you're reading, that's a lot of big motion, just get, you know.
You can just rewatch it tomorrow.
In the summertime, we gotta move, we gotta go.
It's warm.
Things to do. Mayor's not here, that makes us move even faster. Department staff reports, finance, anything out of finance?
You're spending a lot of money.
Don't care, we got a lot to spend.
Next
Borough zoning, local code, anything?
Uh,
Not really.
no, there's been, yes, there is. I have received a request to change the zoning of a parcel from R4 to commercial. I had a quick discussion with Pamela.
That would be spot zoning, which is not allowed.
Which is what we said. This is the wooded area off of Parkview, behind the houses that go up Holy Turnpike Road. The gentleman is looking to buy, he bought it, he owns the land. He owns the Exeter portion and the St. Lawrence portion, and he wants to rezone that, because he wants to make a new kind of virtual reality mini golf business. And I would say that there isn't anything that we can judge about it until we would see some kind of plan. Yes, it would be spot zoning, but it would take a parcel of land that's not being used in the borough and hasn't been used.
So our official response is that a first pass review is that the spot zoning would be denied. However, if we brought in a whole mess of other information on what the use was and things like that, it might be possible to review with current zoning regulations that it would be allowed.
After talking to Joan, it can go for a variance to the zoning hearing board to have it changed.
Change.
I can't change it because that is not,
Right.
it can
So
be-
our answer back to him is exactly that.
But again, you have to remember, it's a split parcel, half's in
St. Lawrence,
St. Lawrence,
half is
half is in.
Well, let him put it on the answer
We
side.
don't have, right, we don't have a plot plan to know. He may not need.
He may not
to
even
have
need it,
all
right,
the
he needs more information.
So it's like a golf simulator.
We think. We
That's
think.
what virtual.
Here, that's what it says. It just says a new
So,
type
will
of.
you please respond to the applicant?
But you can picture
Right.
Parkview, right where they're doing the interceptor trunk line replacement.
Right.
You have a porta potty, you have some equipment there, you have pipe there. If you look up that hill, it's nasty. And so by the time they get all the way up to the avenue, there may only be a small area that he truly can come off the avenue, because there's an HOP, there's a curb cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's his access. We don't want anything, but if he buys the property,
He
then it's
bought
all
the
done.
At this point, we cannot, first pass is spot zoning, but we need so much more detail to provide an answer.
Exactly, and that's
Any-
what Allison and I said.
Yeah. Okay?
There is also the potential for the zoning hearing board to be getting a variance application from a resident to put a pole barn on his building. It's
For a swimming pool?
not for swimming, for his cars.
The other property, this is another.
This is a different property. He has plenty of space, yes. And he wants to put a 30 by 40 foot pole barn.
Well, let him appeal. That's what the zoning hearing board's for.
He's gonna seek a variance from the zoning hearing board. It's in the early stages, he'll go to planning first and present it
Yep.
and get comment.
And we will keep track of that, Sunset. Okay, public safety, David is not here. Public works, you're up.
My report is buried in this packet.
Here it is.
Couple things to note in here, PA American is gonna start moving forward with the sewer replacement on Parkview Road. They submitted in a basic detour plan, but it wasn't very sufficient, so I asked for an updated one from them.
Oh, so that's why all that stage there for getting ready.
So that's a separate project. So PA American is currently working in the right of way off of Parkview Road for the
Yes.
right-hand interceptor. They started that work, I believe, Wednesday, so that will be about a month long. And then this other one is the, Antietam Creek interceptor that's down by the bridge that would require daily closures, which is why they're gonna be required to have a detour plan in place. So we actually received their street opening permit fee yesterday, so they are getting ready to move forward with that.
Can we direct you in your report to the balloons for up and coming costs?
I guess we're gonna hop to that. Amanda actually made that.
How nice. So I asked the staff to come up because I wanted to spend money at this meeting and sort of have a big concept of what we're looking for in grants and stuff like that. So multimodal grant, 100%, green light go, that's another 100%, right?
No, they're 20% match.
No, it says borough match is 0 on here. That balloon is wrong.
That's what I was told.
Okay.
Right, was it, it's 20?
So then we have a small water sewer grant, so we basically took the final third of the sewer system to get it in line, which we would be probably doing in 5 to 7 years anyway. We just have to come up with the matching money now. That's a good deal if we could get that, we would spend it.
We do have the money. in
You have the money right now to do that. UGI Atlantis is, this is the gas main, and this is what?
So the gas main part, that's strictly for the inside of the property building. Like,
What?
so along the property, the gas main through the roof, like everywhere where we put a unit.
So Atlantis would want $25,000 for that?
For all the
Yes.
piping, all the
Gotcha.
props, yeah. And then from there, there's another estimate for 32,000, that's for one of the units.
Okay, so there's a chance the gas line coming in and everything is costing about 60,000, right? And we take that out of capital, correct?
And that's not with
Got
the
it.
whaling for wages and stuff, so.
I understand, yeah, but that's gonna go back.
It's close, they're
Right.
releasing that up for
So,
2024.
so now to the big balloon, which was the garage or shed. So I was gonna say, I think we should just go ahead and go forward. And do you have like a layout back there that would depict what you were thinking for?
I'd say not a accurate layout. I mean,
Okay.
we were
But we
also-
would basically, I'll use the term shed, it's probably gonna be just like a structured, non-heated, back here where the trucks are, and then out a little bit further, mostly L-shaped, back in this corner, L-shaped out, where all our truck vehicles would park. And then, it would probably not be.
Just one opening and.
Yes, there'd be a gap, so you'd walk out of that building to walk into our building, so they're not gonna touch. We're probably not gonna put a dedicated heat system there, we're talking like a waste oil heater or some wood stove or something like that. We're not dedicating a heating system to there, because you only need heat so the ice doesn't freeze. I mean, the ice doesn't freeze, salt for the ice doesn't freeze, right? That's your concern. You don't wanna have a load of salt in the bed, freeze them.
Yeah, I need minimum.
So we need minimum heat for that. And there'd be no offices, no restroom, because all you gotta do is walk 4 feet and they're in the main building. In the shower, hot water, we'll see, but they get to take cold showers.
That's if there's hot water.
Yeah, that is, very hot. So I'm suggesting that we go forth with some sort of budget up to X amount and get it finalized and get that moving and maybe have that undercover before November 1st. Is that doable?
I had sent Pamela this, along with Gordy, and Gordy didn't get back to me, but this is the rough quote from Sure. That doesn't include like electric in there, that's one thing we still have to iron out. So I'm not sure what the coding requires.
And we have questions, of course, on the electric and the heat. In Shirks, there's a reference to the slab radiant heat. I thought we talked that was not gonna go forward.
I say that's just an option in there.
Yeah, probably not.
But it's there, so we
Yeah.
wanna make sure that if you have us as MEP, we're trying to put in a hanging gas unit that's just blowing air.
I don't know if we're gonna go that point at this year, but let's talk about that.
But you have to have the setup, so you want it
Yeah, you want it to be sized, everything sized, that never goes in.
And then conduit there, so
Right.
it's all done, you're just pulling wires, having the
Okay.
mechanical contractor come in to install the heating unit. Those work great because you just dial in by temp. And you don't, it's just working to keep it at 45, 50 degrees so it's not freezing. That's what I thought was last discussed. Again, it's not my building, so I'm
Yeah.
just trying to find out what is your wish list. The other thing that the electric engineer asked, which this was very fascinating, welding outlets, air compressor, pressure washer, and heavy-duty shop tools. Those all carry different demands, as you know. So do you want it there? Don't you want it? Do you want it set up, but
Well, the welders, I think is like a 15 amp, 220 volts, so that's not, I'm talking like the Lincoln stick welder, they don't take much, it's like the same thing, refrigerator. A dryer for a washer dryer.
but you wanna order a panel
Yeah.
that has.
Yeah, it's gonna be like probably a 400 amp or something like that.
Yeah, that's the future wish
Yeah.
list, so that you're not short.
Honestly, when you get into these kind of buildings, there's no 15 amp receptacle. They're all
Yeah.
20s.
But
Air compressors are dedicated circuit.
Yeah,
The welders are dedicated.
Yeah, but air compressor, once again, it's not that much either, it's less than 30 amp, that's a 220 volt, two-stage compressor, it's a fill tires out and stuff
And
like
it's,
that.
and it's Derek, I mean,
Yeah.
he
So we could work those details out on electric and stuff like that.
But in order for us to put
Right.
pen to paper to
Right.
get the
So-
MEP plan,
Pressure washer, once again, I think that's regular 110 volt washer.
it doesn't matter, the engineer will design it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, we just need to know, yes, do you need the welding end? Yes, do you need an air compressor? Yes, do you need a wet pressure washer? Yes, do you need dedicated for other shop tools? That's what we need to guess.
And, go ahead.
We own a welder.
No,
I
I have one.
don't want to make welder.
I have one I can bring if you need it, so.
When you look at how much money we have, you can't look at the total reserve account because those are several different reserve accounts. You're talking capital reserve, you actually have, like 120,000 is in the capital reserve,
Right,
that's it.
okay.
So what they're asking is, do you want the capacity for these other add-ons in the box
So,
for the future?
so what we're gonna say is,
That's what Mike's saying, you
Right.
have a box now, you pull the power in that you need, so then you can just keep connecting.
okay,
And a garage door opener,
right,
normal, lighting, normal, but again,
lighting's gonna be LED, it's not that much demand.
no, but again, they,
Yeah, once again, the MEP part of the building is like 10 years behind times as compared to what new stuff actually runs on, So, but we can tie that on that.
we just need it tied
All right.
down so that we can move
So
forward.
does council have the appetite to spend for the shed? That's the question.
I do not like the foundation.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
We talked about this last time, when you put pressure treated wood directly in the soil, that's a no-go.
They don't put it into the soil right now, don't they put it in a stake?
No,
I think I had sent you something, they did something, whatever,
but
the
it's
post
not
saver.
on the current quote, it's not
Okay.
shown that way, that's the problem, Mike, right?
Some of these, yeah.
No, Simpson Strong Tie has some sort of thing you drive down into the ground and the wood,
It's a sleeve.
never into the soil.
It's a sleeve that.
Yeah, sleeve.
But they're not showing this.
Okay.
Not showing.
Mark that down.
I'm just trying to protect you guys with the
And that
investment.
sleeve actually
Comes up.
supersedes the finished floor a little bit,
Yes.
Yeah,
to ensure that,
You
you
don't-
use as much moisture out as possible.
yeah. So you want to build a shed, guys? Ladies? Why not? I say spend it all.
Hang on a second.
Rain that account.
To refresh my memory, the overall size is what?
30 by 40.
And it's twisted now for one garage door, one main garage door.
Yeah,
Are we gonna have turn down status when it gets to the lower end of the property over there?
We need turn down sets like what they do
Turn down.
with pillows and sheets at a hotel turn down sets.
Turn down slab,
Chocolate.
turn down slab.
We should always have that.
Are they aware of that?
I say Shirk said he would come out and do a site visit.
Well, I think that number's gonna change when he sees the lay of the land in that back corner.
We'll see.
Does everybody understand what Mike's saying with the turn down slab, it sort of anchors?
The earth is not flat.
Oh,
The
right.
earth is not flat. Maybe not so much what they would have had over here, but back in that corner,
How far does it go beyond the pavement towards the creek now, maybe is the
That's
question.
not my question.
Yeah, but that's my question, because
I
I,
asked my question first.
but which way are you going? You know,
Is it 40 this way or is it 40 that way?
Yeah,
40's
40 long.
the length of this way.
Okay.
Parallel.
So that doesn't get you down
No.
that
Right.
far, but you're going to have elevation issues when you get down
My only question, that would it be beneficial for them to put like piles in there?
there.
You're not a pile, but you can put a screw anchor in if you think you're gonna have issues. And they're pretty
I don't
cheap.
think you need to get in driving piles.
This is what Shirk specializes in, and they have the design.
Let him come out here and do the
And
thing.
they will certify, they will do
Yeah.
all the design, nobody else needs to get involved, only the MEP, right, Mike?
So schedule that meeting.
How much is the design cost?
I think
It's
they
wrapped
go
in,
into
it's a
the-
design build, basically.
Okay,
No, no,
just,
it's
I
part of
just,
Shirk.
Yeah.
You've got a cookie cutter price is what you got.
Yes,
Real world, they gotta come out with that.
yes.
So, you want Sheriff to come out and get us like a hard dollar?
Yes.
amount?
yeah, before.
With the,
Yeah.
right kind of.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not just gonna guess.
Can you do that, Roadmaster?
I can try.
So we can spend it in, July.
Well, in the meantime, if there's other questions.
The other question I had, we talked about before, is I think we're gonna need to have a floor drain. And either if we take it into a fiberglass tank or something and figure out what we do with it, you're gonna have to have a floor drain for snow and everything when it melts on the floor. Else we're gonna have to squeegee out all the time,
Or a water separator,
or possibly that.
no, you will, by code.
If we put it into the sanitary, we would.
Anywhere you put it, you have to have a water separator,
Not if you contain it.
then you're gonna have to. pump it.
Eventually, you're gonna have to.
Well, eventually you're gonna have to pump it out or do something with it.
Somewhere.
Yeah, it's gonna have to go some, creek's right there.
No, not to the creek, please, I didn't hear that.
All right?
How about MEP give you the options so that you know the code requirements?
Well, I know the code requirement, because I'm
I know you
building
do,
stuff
I'm
in
just saying
front
so everybody.
I know about spot zone.
I guess-
This is like Jeopardy tonight, you're trying to quiz me.
For,
I am.
no better than to ask this question, I'm gonna ask it. For the little bit of water we're talking about, are we pushing the envelope with French draining it?
I just can't answer that because I don't know how, what fluids they be looking at by code, they have to have intersection.
Right, if you have a diesel tank rupture,
That's the
you know,
problem.
just on the surface, thinking about
It's just like.
the
a
amount of
parking lot.
water from your driving into the
It's just
snow and
like
ice.
your own garage. You pull in there, you get your stove pumps dropping off, but what if you have an oil pan leak or something else going on in your garage?
Goes on
That
floor.
is part of it. Well, it all mixed together,
Yeah.
doesn't
And
say
it's
all
not
of
designed
it.
to be containment, so you couldn't put a valve in there to control it and only open it when you need it.
Well, actually, you can, there's some oil stop valves and stuff like that, I can show you guys what all our people do. So there is a way you could say that they have it's like a ball float in a tank. So if oil would slowly come into your drain, the ball float floats, because it's different, specific gravity of the water, right? Yeah, it's a different, so it stops oil from then going out, because it's like a J-shaped drain. So there's other things you can do.
Absolutely, it's just,
Yeah.
it's cost.
So, if we're gonna spend money, let's talk about getting something hard to beat upon next month. How's that?
Get them out here.
Please.
Thank you. Any other questions about the balloon chart?
Yes, I wanna say the Moore grant, remember, is 100% funded by the Moore grant. There's no money coming out of your budget.
Where's the Moore grant on the balloons?
I just put Moore grant as, it's not a balloon, because it's 100%, I put it at the bottom too.
It's
Retaining
reimbursable.
It's a
Well,
start.
but she
Can you remake this for next month and have the
No.
Moore grant on there? Can't you squeeze another balloon?
No.
Family?
Ledger size.
Yeah.
We get different colors?
But I don't.
You don't like yellow or red on these balloons?
Oh my lord. Continue on.
I
We
think,
move on to Dolan.
yeah, I think real quick for the Moore grant, I may be permitted to submit the invoices directly. I have to call the liaison and ask for that. If there was an option for either reimburse or,
Direct bill, direct reimbursement.
that's what I'm saying. So
Okay.
let me find out for you guys, so that I can work that out. Okay?
Yep. Thank you for that detailed report and updates on everything. Great balloon
We still
chart.
have the Dolan.
Yeah, go bring Dolan in.
Are we doing that now, or are we doing that in business?
My opinion is
Do it now.
Dolan now, get it over with.
Piccadilly.
As I initially said, I would support the waiver. I drove by it. It is tight, it's really tight, and there is definitely an elevation difference between the road and where you would want the sidewalks are level with the curb, and then as you come up to their parking lot. So, to me, it's legitimate. They have two huge utility poles. We all talked about this before, utility pole cost relocation is not cheap. So, I don't know much foot traffic that's down there, but we're getting a new sidewalk.
So is there a motion to allow Dole Construction to deviate from the current saldo for the width of the portion of the sidewalk where there's a utility pole to reduce it from 60 inches in width to 48? So it's just a little section where the pole's at. They'll make it look pretty,
Yeah.
but it's 5 foot everywhere else, which sounds like a reasonable
Absolutely.
request.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion moved and seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion
And
passed.
that is all that they
Yeah.
need, they do not
That's the
have
only
to go-
deviation.
They don't have to go to PennDOT.
Yeah. Anything else in Public Works?
That's it.
Except we're talking about bushes and stuff like that. So, library, Mike Fritz, anything?
Things going well.
Joint comp, anything new?
We did not have a meeting this month.
No. Anything else on municipal lands?
Yeah, a couple things. One is when Dave and I went and did the walk to ascertain fire truck accessibility and stuff, he made the comment, gee, why don't we make a map?
Great.
With,
So did you
so
get
people get, and then totally independent, when I did the walk in the woods in April, I had about 10 people. And I heard several of them saying, gee, this would be great if you only had a map for us with, please.
Right.
So,
Are you making a map for?
well, that's what I'd like to get agreement that we will support, you know, creating some sort of a map trail on our property.
Can we use the, did we ever get a drone footage or anything?
We have
You
to
can't
throw it
really
away,
see
so
the-
It's tough to see all the
You
trails.
can't really see.
Can we overlay it, can we use that as a base map, but then overlay where the trails are?
You would be able to set that as a base layer underneath.
Underneath it all?
Depending on what
Yeah,
GIS.
you know, when I did it with Dave, we had a GPS.
Yeah.
So he has GPS tracking of all the trails
What kind
that
of-
he walked.
Like a recreational GPS?
No, it was what he had through the fire company.
So I'm just asking for accuracy.
Yeah,
Just 3 feet accuracy, you know, like a phone's like good to.
You have to have, I was hoping Dave would be here.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
So can you take their raw data and put a map in our GIS system? Or,
As long as it's compatible.
okay, so can you get Dave, when he's not working, to send, we'll see what we can do internally?
Yeah, now we have a lot more trails,
We've been walking different places, you've been going on the beaten trail, right?
but
Are we gonna name them down, like
We did
Warren Lubin 1, Warren Lubin 2?
No, I would suggest things like the watershed trail, there's a watershed loop where you can go from Adams Street all the way to the back of our property and loop around to another one where the motorcycle guys cut a trail between two trails to stay on our property, so you
Yeah.
have to go off. And then you can come back down and loop back around. I don't know, I've talked to, Bill Stillman, because one of the main trails catches through his property. He says he has no problem with a trail being on his property.
Except we probably have to sign it, like you're
Well,
exiting, you
yeah,
know.
Well, you put it on the map saying this
Yeah.
is private property. There's private property up on Neversink Mountain where
People
First
walk,
Nature has a trail map which has trails going through that private property
Yeah.
with permission of the landowner. So, you know, that's,
So let's see if Dave can download the information, and we see like a rough draft when you have time,
yeah.
next month or two.
Yeah, I'll try to get a hold of Dave. We may do some more walking on a few different trails.
Anything else on municipal lands?
That was really the main thing.
When you're taking, I'm sorry, when you're taking GPS readings, are you taking like widths, are the trails of standard width? Or are some trails wider than others?
Yeah, some are a little wider, some are only,
30 inches, 36 inches?
yeah, and others are, 10 feet wide.
Yeah. I
But
was-
they used to be roads back when.
Back in the day. Yeah, I was just curious if you're gonna have a trail map, is it gonna be scalable? Or
I
just
think
more?
it's just gonna show.
Yeah, it's just gonna be more-
Any trail map I've ever.
Illustrative.
used Just shows you a line saying, and then it, you know, this
How about
is, this is
elevations?
the blue, this is the
Yeah.
blue trail, this is the red trail, this is the white trail, et cetera. The only other thing, in the woods is, beech trees are, there's a blight. And, it's like a parasite from what I've read. And I see evidence of it on most of our beech trees in the woods back there. Apparently it's come from Ohio,
Neat.
moved its way.
So what's the treatment for?
And when you read the treatment, they say if you have one beech tree, you can spend all this money to try to save it.
And then it jumps to the next one.
And, but they said as far as the wood, in a wooded area, there's virtually nothing you can do
Yeah.
about it.
Is there a resistant, variation of beech right now to this thing?
Not that I know of.
So much.
I mean, this is all the past month,
Yeah.
or, yeah, since.
How many beech do you think we have up there? 20, 50?
Oh, yeah, we have a lot more than that. It's,
Do you rule the value if you cut it down now, or wait till it all gets eaten up by the fungus?
that I don't know whether it's.
Can you get back with us on that?
Yeah.
What I'm saying is if they're gonna get diseased up, they're gonna fall. Should we just cut them down now? That's the question.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure, I have to talk to
Arborist.
and stuff and find out what they would say. But they're scattered, there's not, you're like, it's not where you go.
Well, I'm just,
to this area.
I may be suggesting that we know where they are nearest the trails. But then,
And it's not even sure they're gonna die in the near term.
I
Something
understand,
they
they're
don't-
vulnerable,
they don't-
they're vulnerable.
They're vulnerable. at this
Yeah.
point. There is.
Do we know any interns for like Penn State, as an arborist, who wanna go do a survey of beech trees for us? Like some,
I don't know.
education credit?
I don't know of any.
Well, I mean, could we, send an email off or something for that? At this point in time, I don't want to pay an arborist for some college kid we can feed for a
Oh,
week.
yeah.
Go do that.
Right. Well, it's more right now, just talking to Penn State or somebody
Yeah.
like that, and finding out what they know about this parasite.
They didn't mention, I was just at the pesticide class back in, when was that, March, April? And they didn't even mention
Yeah.
beech trees. They usually give you a heads up on stuff.
Yeah, well, I just found out about it within the past couple of weeks. Since the trees have leafed out, and you can see.
You wanna contact Berks Nature and see if they know anything about it?
Yeah.
If they have some cutting edge stuff on it?
Yeah,
More
I can
information.
do that, I'll talk to them about it.
Anything else?
No,
Recreation, Dave's not here, but we have a recreation program, leaders are up there.
I noticed the new American flag looks great.
Good job.
I noticed it today.
Just need a flagpole here, right? Or,
Well, the flagpole's here.
yeah, the flagpole here, it's not in. You wanna put it in, if they give you a scheduled day, if like a week's notice, I'll stay around and help you do that. I wanna do that. 29 children, blah, blah, blah. Planning Commission, Warren, we talked a little bit, you guys doing a flood zone,
Yeah.
floodplain.
we pretty much went through it and stuff,
Yeah.
and then rewritten, and we'll go over it.
And zoning hearing board, if there's zoning hearing appeals, that might come later, right?
Yep.
Going to general comments, public meeting announcements, all public meetings, St. Lawrence Borough Municipal Building at 135 North Prospect Street, zoning hearing board meeting. Also here, changes to office hours, regular office hours during June, borough office closes at 2:30 Monday through Thursday, and 12 on Fridays, borough office closed on July 4th for Independence Day. Executive session, is there a motion to go into executive session to discuss an offer from our old borough hall?
I move we go into executive session. Second.
Motion moved and second, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. We're out of executive session, and right now we had a offer for the Old Borough Hall, and is there a motion to reject the offer as presented?
I'll move to reject the offer as presented.
Motion been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Okay, old business, sorry. We update traffic signals, questions regarding light eligibility, done that. Light cannot be put flashing, done that. New business, Dolan Construction, did that. Motion to grant Dolan waiver, did that. Motion to approve garage building, land this bona fide main gas line, at least one other connection.
We did that?
Yep,
Can we put the brakes on for a second?
sure.
Back up, because I know it's old business, and I'm gonna keep bringing it up every month. 2934 Old Turnpike Road.
Please do not mention the addresses.
You could say it's in the 2900 block, but you can't have an actual
block
address.
of Old Turnpike Road. Have we started any kind of communication?
The review is that there's nothing within the current regulations that's in non-compliance. It could be
That doesn't fall
unsightly, it could be something else. If you come in and say we were seeing vermin or something like that, and there's a picture of a skunk, or, something that's a vector for, then you have other actionable items. But right now, because it just doesn't look pretty, is it an actionable item under property maintenance?
So if a neighbor would complain about the overall site of that, does that become enforceable?
It has to be like because the grass is 18 inches high, or this, tree is leaning over my property line and is gonna hit my building. Those are actionable items.
Other things, there's sanitation,
Right.
garbage.
If there's, that's why I said if you could show, look at these vermin, because these are vectors for, now those are actionable items. So if those are the issues and they're brought in, then we can go back and look at it again.
The exterior of the building, roof leaders not there, things hanging off, missing components, siding, things like that.
But it could be,
But if
paint
it's-
worn is not really an issue.
No, but it's like if there's.
Right, if it's,
Totally missing siding.
right, if there's a
Roof-
hole in the wall,
Hole in the roof. yes.
right. Yeah, so does that help frame,
Do you have a copy of the property maintenance code?
Probably.
It's
It's
big.
online, right?
Is it online?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you look at that, that's gonna help you understand.
Again, I just cannot fathom that.
You got a
It
porch
exists.
that's absolutely filled,
Yeah.
absolutely filled,
The side
with
porch.
a narrow little walkway to the front door.
Yeah.
And both sides of the porch are just
Just side porches.
And I'm sure
side porches.
there's a high probability the inside has issues too, but we don't have jurisdiction.
Unless what's on the porch is considered garbage.
It's stuff.
It's stuff.
It's planters, bird cage, stuff.
Just
Is it like old person stuff?
Talking.
Quote unquote old person stuff?
I would say it's green dragon, flea market finest stuff.
Okay.
Sitting there.
That's such a shame.
It's a lot of stuff.
Gotcha.
Wow.
I have an idea where.
It's stuff.
Okay? Best we can do. Brakes off?
I'll let you know.
No, I mean, for the rest of the meeting. You said slow down.
No, yeah, brakes
Oh,
off,
yeah,
brakes
yeah.
off, I'm sorry.
No, I'm not making that, So, is there a motion to adjourn? If there's any other item?
There's the motion.
Yeah. Motion moved, second to adjourn our meeting. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, motion passes. And hopefully for the July meeting, Council President, as historically, will bring ice cream treats from the playground.
Speaking of that, now that it's getting warmer out,